than Russia blocking it. In fact, Mr. Lavrov is currently speaking. Let's cut across live to those visuals.
The vest down, channel, please. Mr. Lavrov, you mentioned that the number of countries who would like to join such groupings as BRICS and has increased over 2022. Does it mean that such groupings will be a counterbalance for the West? We have never approached participation in the international fora as a task to build a team, an alliance against someone. What we need is a balance of interests, and it is only ensured when there is a mutually respectful dialogue, when every country seeks not only to promote its positions, but also to do it in a way that the partners' positions are reflected. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization and BRICS are both based on exactly these principles of equality, mutual respect and mutual trust, and the principle of consensus. The G20 was actually established in order to address economic and financial issues that the international community faced quite a long time ago. The first meeting of G20 at the level of ministers of finance and heads of central banks were held back in 1999, and in 2008, when another wave of global economic crisis broke out, it was decided to hold these discussions on financial issues at the level of heads of states and governments. That was when everyone agreed that G20 doesn't deal with geopolitical issues that are on the UN agenda and primarily its Security Council and the General Assembly. And now G20 is a platform that unites the G7 countries, the leading countries of the West, the BRICS countries, the whole five, and a whole number of countries that, in terms of their approach, positions and interests, are closer to the BRICS position. Nonetheless, it is a platform for effective dialogue, for negotiating approach, as it used to be till the last year, when the West sacrificed to its ambitions on Ukrainian affairs all areas, all tracks of work that should be at the cornerstone of the G20. And now, I mentioned it in my speech at G20, all multilateral institutions are going through a test whether or not they reflect the current geopolitical realities. This goes for the UN, for G20, and whether or not they are relevant in the new conditions, we'll be able to say so only those countries will be relevant who can do something else but present their claims in order to justify their right for hegemony. TV channel. Good afternoon, distinguished Minister. You've had lots of meetings and consultations. Do tell us, what has G20 shown, demonstrated in terms of non-Western countries? What are they going to do in a situation when the West formulates their situation the following way: either you are with us or against us? For the sustainability of the world order, what does it mean? Well,
концентрируется на практической работе по обеспечению наших интересов, полностью сознавая, подчеркну это еще раз, что делать это необходимо с учетом законных интересов других участников процесса. И мы к этому готовы. Но насколько Запад осознает типовость своей линии,
Realizes
а они ведь
the
заявляют, что
futility of its
необходимо
current
вести
policy, and they say that Russia should face a strategic defeat, that allegedly it is an existential problem for the West. They state it explicitly, they don't conceal it. They would like the attempt to preserve their hegemony on world arena. The developing countries, please realize that they see it, they are aware of it, but some of them
давление с использованием приемов.
With they are getting sucker punched against, so to say, and in their statements, in one way or another, they have to make certain statements, certain claims. They speak about how they adhere to the main principles of the UN Charter. They speak about the territorial integrity. They speak about the respect for sovereignty. We also agree with this. We also support this. But I would like to remind you that the UN Charter, like any document that was adopted by the entire global community, cannot be executed randomly. It's not a menu that you can pick items from. And like I said, in the UN Charter, it is enshrined, and it even concentrates upon this principle, the principle of the right of the peoples to self-determination. And since the very beginning of the UN, its member states paid attention that the principle of the sovereignty and territorial integrity and this principle of the right of the peoples for self-determination, it has to be somehow interpreted, and the process was launched where all the countries participated, which ended with the adoption of the Declaration on the Principles of Interstate Relations based on the United Nations Charter. This document has never refuted, has never cancelled since then, and there the interaction between these two principles is interpreted in the following way. Every state must adhere to the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity of any other state. It represents the entire nation that lives there.
Не отражают интересов ни крымчан, ни жителей Востока Украины.
It is obvious that the government does not represent the interests of the people in Crimea or in Donbass. I think everyone understands this perfectly. There is no need to delve into it any further.
Geeta Mohan from India Today. Minister Lavrov, just wanted to know whether if there's going to be a joint communique. Was there a discussion on that? And why did Russia, including China, move back from the Bali Declaration? Also, you mentioned that the G20 forum has become a farce, apologized to India for the behavior of the West. What transpired in that room?
It's an interesting expression. Why Russia, including China? Что касается причин, по которым не состоялось принятие декларации.
As for the reasons why the declaration was not adopted, and instead of this, Indian presidency will outline their vision of the discussion as some kind of a summary by the president. I have just explained it in a lot of detail in your question, why the formula, the same formula that was put into the Bali Declaration. I also touched upon this. The summit on Bali took place more than 6 months ago, and since then a lot of things have happened that show what is going on in Ukraine, including the admission of guilt, basically, of 3 signatories of the Minsk Accords